5年前，我和我老公失业了。
My husband and I both lost our jobs. It was really tough. He's an actor, and he's played the male lead in 30 shows, but somehow he never became popular. I've been in quite a few productions myself, but I didn't make a splash either. It's incredibly hard to get roles. Sometimes you wait a whole year and nothing comes. We were broke and ended up going back to our hometown in shame. But life back home wasn't any better. It was unbearable. So we swallowed our pride and came back to Beijing. What can you do in Beijing? Set up a stall, I guess. This is the story of a struggling actress living in Beijing. She and her husband, both trained actors with leading roles in many shows, lost their jobs years ago. They couldn't stand life in their hometown, so they came back to Beijing, and now they sell shoes at a street stall while still hoping for a chance to act again. Someone online commented that the woman looked familiar. As for the man, if he starred in 30 productions and still looks like a nobody, maybe the one who got hurt the most was the company that signed him. That company has probably gone under by now.
现在在北京飘的这个演员将近50万。
There are close to 500,000 actors living in Beijing now. Most of them are professionally trained from art schools. People usually think actors are glamorous, making over $1 million yuan for one show. But only a tiny few make that kind of money. The truth is, most actors in film and TV can't even make enough to get by. Before I became well known, I earned very little. And when a good script came along, I'd take the role even if it meant no pay at all. Why? Because opportunities are rare. Acting is a very insecure career. Who can guarantee they'll have a job every day? You might work for a month or two on a show, then have nothing for the next 12. And that means no income for a whole year.
This was said by an actor who used to be fairly well known in China. He used to appear in public regularly, but now he's rarely seen.
都说当演员来钱特别快，干一天就相当于
People say actors make fast money, and that a day's work is like a month's salary for regular folks. But is that really true? Today, I want to tell you the truth about how actors get paid. Let's take Beijing as an example. Background actors get about 100 to 150 yuan per day. There's a high demand for them, and they usually don't have any lines. There are also no strict requirements for looks or presence. Next up are foreground actors. They earn around 200 to 300 yuan per day. These roles require a certain look or vibe. They're closer to the main actors, so you might catch a blurry glimpse of them on camera. Then there are special extras. They get paid anywhere from 500 to 1500 yuan per day. These are the roles with maybe one or two lines, and even for those, hundreds of people compete, so the competition is fierce. After that, you get the character actors. These can be lead or supporting roles, and within the leads, there are different levels: regular lead, recognized lead, celebrity lead, and major star lead. Actors who get these roles are usually signed with talent agencies. Their pay is calculated per project, and they usually split it 30-70 with their agency. Also, there's no such thing as overtime pay in this industry. For example, if you're a foreground actor, it doesn't matter if you shoot for a few hours or the whole day, you still just get 200 yuan. Now, let me tell you about how much stage actors earn. When it comes to rehearsals, the pay is either around 100 yuan per day or nothing at all. During actual performances, the pay depends on the project's budget or ticket sales. Usually, it ranges from 500 to 1500 yuan per show. Stage actors basically earn through hard work. Take my own experience, for example. During the busy summer season, when there were a lot of performances, I could make almost 20,000 yuan in 1 month. But to earn that, we had to perform 3 shows a day, with only 1 day off a week. The working hours were brutal. After the summer shows, I didn't even dare to step on a scale. Most people avoid weighing themselves because they gain weight, but I avoided it because I had lost so much weight. I could feel my body getting thinner day by day. As soon as I got backstage, I could fall asleep anywhere. There was barely any time between the afternoon and evening shows, so we didn't even have time for dinner. Some of the male actors in our group would only eat once every 2 days. I know that compared to delivery workers or construction workers, our hardship might seem lighter, but honestly, making money as an actor isn't easy either. And now, during what people call the winter of the film and television industry, our chances of making money are getting smaller and smaller. The ones who are really suffering are the lower-level workers in the industry and small-time actors like us. A middle-aged actress who managed to build a name for herself recently got a rare audition opportunity. She was so excited that she rushed to Beijing from another city.
我说现在女演员太难了。
It's just too hard for actresses right now. They said they wanted someone who was especially beautiful. I kept wondering, what exactly does especially beautiful even mean? I was just talking to my agent. She said that most actors waiting in Beijing have no work at all, and there are very few auditions happening. I haven't been to a set in a whole year. So today, I'm coming to Beijing again. I'm actually really excited. I haven't had lunch yet. Right now, I'm holding my portfolio, getting ready to go to an audition with my agent. Wish me luck. Netizens said, have you seen the movies and TV shows China's putting out these days? Can anyone even sit through them? Domestic dramas are so bad, might as well just shut down the whole industry. 10 years ago, even third and fourth tier actors could buy houses in Beijing, but now they have to rely on their families just to get by. An actor from northeast China, who had been struggling in Beijing for 18 years, shared his experience. He started out as an extra and talked about some of the hidden rules in the acting world.
现在的演艺圈到底有多少没戏拍的演员
How many actors in this industry are just sitting around without any roles? How rough is their life really? I'm Joe Ray, 38 years old, a struggling actor who hasn't filmed anything in 7 months. Today, I basically gathered a bunch of unemployed actors at my house. How long has it been since you last worked? Over 60 days, over 100 days, 58 days, 60 days. And me, it's been 7 months.
Joe Ray invited a group of unemployed actor friends to his home for a meal. He called it a break, but the truth is they didn't have any acting jobs. If they were available, who would want a break? He said, don't underestimate these actors. Every one of them graduated from top-tier art schools like the Central Academy of Drama or the Beijing Film Academy. They're far more talented than someone like me, who switched to acting from dancing. Back in the day, I wouldn't even be able to talk to them. But now, just like me, they're all stuck in the same category of bottom-tier actors drifting around Beijing. There is a hierarchy of disdain in the acting world. It's divided into 5 levels. I used to linger at the very bottom of that hierarchy for years. At the top are 2 types of people. The first are actors who can actually act, commonly known as stars. The second are actors who can't act, known as traffic, basically internet celebrities. These 2 groups always land the lead and second lead roles in dramas. Neither respects the other, but the truth is they can't do without each other. The second tier includes those who always get third or fourth male lead roles in every show. You'd recognize them if you saw them on the street, but you'd never remember their names. They're the familiar faces. I'm still a bit removed from that level, but thanks to short videos, I often get recognized and enjoy treatment that technically belongs to the second tier, even though I haven't earned it. The third tier includes those who appear in popular TV dramas, usually in just a few episodes before their characters get killed off. Their screen time isn't long, but they pop up everywhere. In the industry, this is called a special guest role. These actors constantly go to auditions around Beijing, so they're known as Beijing drifters. This is the tier I belong to. And corresponding to the Beijing drifters, there's also another group on the 4th tier, the Hengdian drifters, and they have it even tougher. They move between various film crews in Hengdian every day. They usually have a good relationship with assistant directors, and whenever there's a need for a speaking role, like a head eunuch or a Japanese officer, they're ready to step in. Typically, they earn a few hundred yuan a day. Back when the industry was booming, there were acting gigs every single day. As for the 5th tier, it goes without saying, they're background extras. Sometimes it's heartbreaking just to watch them. They work under the sun and rain, get yelled at all day, yet only earn a little over 10 yuan per hour, and the union even takes a cut. Joe Ray explained that these tiers weren't something he made up. They're an unspoken rule of the industry, something he's personally experienced over his 18-year acting career. It took him 18 years to climb to the 3rd tier, and whether he can move up further, that's up to fate.
Even within the same level, there's still a kind of pecking order. Take me, for example. I didn't go to acting school, never had formal training. At first, I was always looked down on by those top students from the Central Academy of Drama or Beijing Film Academy. I remember years ago when I was filming in Hengdian. I was just an extra then. I ran into a fresh graduate from the Central Academy. He had just entered the industry and was full of pride. He looked down his nose at me. He was younger than me but talked to me like I worked for him. But years later, I saw him again on set. This time, he was buried in a group of extras, pushed around, playing a silent role with no lines. That arrogance from before was completely gone. Life must have humbled him. He probably understands things a lot better now, but I didn't treat him the same way he treated me. I didn't look down on him or order him around. Instead, I invited him to eat with me and chat. We're all workers at the bottom. Why make things harder for each other? I honestly hate all these levels and the way people look down on one another, but I can't escape the industry. So I just try to be a decent person.
Honestly, anyone could be an actor. Netizens said, "The only difference is whether they get the chance. Acting is just something you get better at with experience. Look at those corrupt officials, crying and blowing their noses in court. They act so well, even the director wouldn't want to yell cut." The truth is, most actors working in Beijing don't live the glamorous life people imagine. Many are barely getting by. So what about the top stars in mainland China? What's their situation now? After the Chinese New Year movie season, the film industry took a major hit. There were barely any movies that crossed the 100 million mark at the box office. For example, Sunflower, directed by Feng Xiaogang and starring Zhao Liying, was released on April 4th. 20 days later, it had just passed the 200 million yuan mark. Director Feng Xiaogang shared on his social media, "This number isn't high, but it's the first domestic movie since the New Year season that didn't lose money." That one phrase, "didn't lose money," sparked lots of discussion. People used it to estimate Zhao Liying's pay for the film, and the results shocked many online. Some said her pay had been slashed dramatically. What really stood out to people wasn't the number itself, but that phrase, "didn't lose money." It basically confirmed what many suspected. The movie barely broke even. After doing the math, a 200 million yuan box office would give the production company about 67 million yuan after revenue sharing. Subtract about 10 million for marketing, and that leaves 57 million. From that number, people estimated how much Zhao Liying was paid. According to China's salary cap order issued by the National Radio and Television Administration, the total amount paid to all actors shouldn't exceed 40% of a production's cost. Out of that, lead actors can take no more than 70%. So 40% of 57 million is around 22.8 million yuan. That's the total pay for all actors. And 70% of that is about 15.96 million yuan. That's the limit for all lead actors combined. But Zhao Liying wasn't the only lead. After dividing that among her co-stars like Lan Xiya and others, Zhao Liying's final pay likely ended up only around 10 million yuan, or $1.3 million. That's a huge drop compared to the sky-high salaries she used to earn just a few years ago, which were sometimes over 100 million yuan. One person commented, "This really shows how bad the industry is right now. Zhao Liying didn't just cut her pay, she cut it a lot." Meanwhile, another former top celebrity recently made headlines again, but not in a good way. Chris Wu, a Chinese-Canadian singer and actor who was once one of the most famous stars in China, was sentenced in November 2022 to 13 years in prison by a court in Beijing's Chaoyang district. He was convicted of rape and organizing group sex parties. The court also ordered that he be deported after serving his sentence. Chris Wu appealed the decision, but the second trial upheld the original sentence. Recently, a social media user who claimed to be a criminal defense lawyer posted that he had just returned from the Chaoyang detention center. He said Chris Wu, who has already been in prison for 4 years, was moved back to the detention center because new crimes had been discovered. This time, it involved tax evasion, over 300 million yuan's worth. That could mean additional charges. According to this lawyer, if Chris Wu is convicted of tax evasion, the court would issue a new sentence. This time, the time he's already served would be counted as part of the new sentence, using a method called combine and reduce. The Post also claimed that when Chris Wu met his lawyer at the detention center, he had to wear a head cover. There were even rumors that Chris Wu had become the cell leader inside, meaning he holds a top position in his cell block. That gives him slightly better treatment. He doesn't have to take overnight shifts, and his meals are usually just steamed buns, cabbage, and tomato fried eggs. There were also reports that he had gained about 9 kilograms since being in prison. Chris Wu was arrested in 2021 when the first scandal broke. He was quickly blacklisted across the internet. His entire entertainment career came to a halt, and several brands he used to endorse demanded massive compensation. After the first verdict, he appealed to the Beijing Third Intermediate Court. The second trial was held behind closed doors on July 25, 2023. The court said it would announce the decision at a later date. That decision came on November 24, 2023, when the court ruled to uphold the original sentence. Then on April 19, 2024, Chris Wu's name suddenly shot back to the top of Chinese social media because of a new tax delinquency notice. According to the government notice, 2 companies linked to Chris Wu were found to owe corporate income taxes. Each company owed over 2 million yuan. Reports say that after Chris Wu was sent to prison, several brands started seeking compensation. The lawsuits involved 2 companies. One is Inner Mongolia Fanshi Film and Media. The other is Inner Mongolia Chaoting Culture and Media. The first company is a subsidiary of Chris Wu's management firm, with his cousin Wu Lin listed as the legal representative. The second company is owned and founded by Chris Wu's mother. At the time, some people online asked, how are we still getting updates about him? He's been gone for 3 years. No one's managing his companies. Of course there's unpaid taxes. Although Chris Wu has been in prison for over 4 years now, rumors about him keep coming. There were stories about his mother being unhappy with the trial, selling cars to raise money. Chris Wu started writing songs in prison, hoping for a lighter sentence, his face becoming swollen, and even details of his prison meals. Now with this new tax case, people say he might face extra charges, and although any new sentence might be merged and reduced, some fans still reacted hopelessly. Chris Wu might never finish serving his time. Some people see him as a tragic figure. They say the real problem lies in his identity, as a Chinese Canadian. Regardless of what he did, because of his background, he ended up being treated very differently. When the Chinese Communist Party wanted him to represent them, they lifted him up overnight, turning him into one of the most famous stars in the country. They often reward overseas Chinese from the US, Europe, Japan, Korea, or Taiwan when they show loyalty to the CCP, using them as symbols of patriotism and international recognition. But once the CCP decides someone is no longer useful, or worse, becomes politically inconvenient, they can take that same person down overnight and even throw them in jail. Look at what happened to Canadian diplomat Michael Kovrig. He was falsely accused and detained in China for years after Huawei's CFO Meng Wanzhou was arrested in Canada. The CCP even threatened him with the death penalty to pressure the Canadian government to release Meng. Now Chris Wu is in the spotlight again, and it may not be a coincidence. It could be tied to political motives that the public doesn't know about. Some even believe the CCP is using his case to distract the public, and possibly to seize more of his assets, because right now the Chinese government is desperate for money and stuck in a very difficult position. Since the pandemic began in 2020, China's entertainment industry has been in a steep decline. The economy hasn't recovered, and the former glory of the film and TV world seems to have vanished overnight. At the same time, the CCP's censorship has only gotten stricter. There's little room left for genuinely good films or TV shows. Even actors and viewers admit that the quality of Chinese dramas in recent years has become worse and worse. The overly patriotic main-theme productions pushed by the government have only made things worse, deepening the industry's winter. For actors who now have no work, the real question isn't about fame anymore, it's about survival.